Hello my friends, welcome back to our road trip vlogs. If you did not know, I took a huge family road trip with my husband and my two kids, and we went from our home in Maryland all the way up into Canada and around the country, and I'm sharing that with you right now. This is not replacing beauty content. It is a bonus for those who are interested, and also something that I'm doing for myself and my family to keep a memory of our trip, and I just wanted to share it with you. So if that sounds good to you, hang tight. We're gonna get into the first half of July right now. Today, we're going to talk about all the things we did in Colorado, and then we're going to jet up through Wyoming, all the way up into Canada. Our big stop in Colorado was to visit my friend Nancy, who I actually met through my YouTube comments. She is a subscriber of mine who we've bonded and become friends. So we were going to stay with Nancy for a few days. So at this point, we're traveling to go see Nancy, and we happened to pass by a place called South Park. And I don't know if the TV show South Park was actually meant to be in this town, but they do have a lot of South Park kinds of things there. I didn't take any pictures of them though. I'm really sad about that. But what we did take pictures of was a place called South Park City. And this was an old mining town, and they took a bunch of buildings that were the original buildings from this time, and they put it into one place. So you could walk around in this circle and see all of these different buildings that were around back when the California Gold Rush started. My family teases me about this because I told them, we'll go in, it'll take us 30-45 minutes, and we ended up staying for over 3 hours. It was my idea to go in because I love history, but we all really had fun exploring these places. This was really cool. It's a covered wagon, and it kind of reminded us of our adventure van, but back from the 1800s. This was an apothecary, so they had a bunch of old bottles and different medicines and things. It was super cool. This room reminded me of Graveyard Girl because of all of the creepy dolls everywhere. There were just so many from all over the world, and period pieces and things. It was creepy, but also kind of cool. This crying baby was super creepy. And this was the saloon, and John's up there pretending to order a beer, I guess. I don't know. Some antique vehicles. And there was one room where we went upstairs, and Sam made it perfectly fine up the steps. It was a dog-friendly location. He made it perfectly fine up the steps, but John was really nervous about him going down because the steps were steep, so he picked him up and carried him, and I thought it was really cute, so I took a picture. The kids loved going up on the train and ringing the bell. That was super fun for them. And of course, we have to have pictures of John with his Goblin Dylan. This is an old schoolhouse that you could also ring the bell, which is cool. And just more pictures of Dylan there. One thing that was really neat is they had one of those self-playing pianos. We gave them old cameras to use to take pictures and videos of things that they liked so that they could make a little book when they got back. So that was one thing they found fascinating. This is the only picture I have in Vail, Colorado, is of Dylan. We walked around Vail a little bit just to see what the town was like. It was definitely different probably than what it would have been in the wintertime, but it was still neat to walk around the town. After we left Vail, we went to Nancy's house, and we stayed with her for quite a few days. Unfortunately, we were having so much fun relaxing that we forgot to take pictures. Nancy had taken a video of us meeting, and she can't find the footage. I wish that we could have that in here, but it was definitely a beautiful moment, us hugging for the first time, because we've just been talking online forever. It was really nice. But I didn't take a lot of pictures when I was over at Nancy's, which I totally regret. It's a beautiful mountain house. We took a little day trip down to Glenwood Springs to play some mini golf. That was fun. John, my son John, absolutely loves mini golf. I feel like he was reincarnated from a guy who was a golfer, because I have no idea where he got this fascination with golf from. Lila, on the other hand, has a lot of trouble with golf because she gets very frustrated when she doesn't do well with it. So it's one of those balances of John having a blast and Lila getting extremely frustrated and trying to help her not to get frustrated. But we ended up having a pretty good time. So we went out to dinner afterward, and my husband John likes to eat kind of relatively unusual foods that maybe kids might typically not eat, and he ordered escargot, and this is the first time John tasted escargot. He was so excited to try it. He actually really liked it. We didn't tell him what it was before he tried it, and then after he ate it, we told him what it was. I know that's kind of mean, but you know, he liked it still. He was kind of like, Daddy! But now he can say he's tried escargot. This is a little video I took of White River National Forest in Gypsum. It was so beautiful driving through here, and I just want to share it with you because it was just absolutely gorgeous. And this is the only photo I have of me and Nancy. This was on the 4th of July. And oh my gosh, we just had so much fun. We bonded, of course, immediately. We became even closer friends. She is such a sweetheart, and I'm so thankful I got to spend time with her. For 4th of July, we ended up in Avon, and unfortunately, because of the fire ban, they had no fireworks, but they did have some activities for kids. They had good food, they had music, it was fun, and they also had an ice skating rink that was open, which I thought was really neat. We left Nancy's house on July 5th and went to go visit another friend. This is my friend Flory, who has been a What's Up in Makeup reporter for years and years and years. We've been online friends for a long time. Again, started out as one of my subscribers and is now my friend. And it was really wonderful meeting her and her husband for the first time. And we took her and her husband out to dinner and just had a nice chat, and it was great. So that was our only stop in Denver. And then we headed to Boulder. Downtown Boulder was so fun. We ended up down on Pearl Street and going around and looking at all the shops. I really wanted to stop by this popsicle shop. They have, almost like they have, you know, fancy ice creams with different mix-ins and things. This is a popsicle place that has unique flavors and unique things that it's dipped in and all that. And I thought it looked really cool. So we went in and it was very delicious. While we were there, we saw some street performers. This guy was really good up on his unicycle. He had his little crew making sure he had everything he needed. So I took a little video of him performing because I thought it was really neat. This is funny. This was a picture that was in a window for sale. If you can find where you live, it's pretty funny to see what they say about your area. My area, it says too political, which I would totally agree. That night we slept in the van on the side of the road, looking out at this view in Boulder, Colorado. Next morning, we woke up and got some breakfast back at Pearl Street, and I honestly cannot remember the name of this restaurant, but they have like really cool pancake breakfast options. It was super busy, but we were really thankful to be able to get a seat and get some breakfast there because it was delish. They had a water feature outside on Pearl Street, and we just decided to let the kids run through it because, you know, fully clothed, whatever, they'll dry. And they had fun.
Run back. John, run back. Come on. You're not listening. Come back. There we go. Is that fun? Yeah.
And of course, John with Dylan in front of the candy shop because that's his favorite place in the world, is anything having to do with candy. So then we hit the road again. This is kind of a picture that I thought was really funny. We made it to Great Falls, Montana and got some gas, and the kids were pretending like the husband was squeegeeing their faces, and it was just funny. So we drove all day that day and we made it to Canada. So these are our first pictures of Alberta. We stayed in a beautiful campground right across the border, and this was our view from our camping spot, and it was gorgeous. The next morning we woke up and we ended up in a town called Vulcan, and my production manager for What's Up in Makeup, her name is Tabitha. She loves Star Trek, so I had to take this picture of the Star Trek museum for her and send it to her. I thought about her right away. And that day we made it to Banff National Park, which was absolutely gorgeous. We went to a campground in Banff National Park and had our very first s'mores. And unfortunately, this is the last time we see Dylan for a little while because we were having trouble getting the picture to focus because it was getting dark, and John got frustrated with holding him and kind of decided he didn't want to take pictures with Dylan anymore, which made me really sad. We woke up the next morning and explored Banff a bit. This is a beautiful panoramic that I took that I'm just so thankful that I took. Absolutely gorgeous. I wore makeup that day, which I was very happy about. So I took a picture of me with my makeups. We did the Johnston Canyon Trail, I believe is what it's called. So there were a lot of tourists on the trail, but it was totally worth it because the views were absolutely breathtaking. I'm just gonna show you a few pictures that I took on the trail. And then this is a video of one of the waterfalls. I just felt like I needed to take a video to show the power of the waterfall. More pictures of the Johnston Trail. This waterfall we had to wait in line to see. There was probably about a 10-15 minute wait of people waiting to see this view. And of course, because we waited 15 minutes, we had to take a picture of the fam. And because John decided he didn't want to pose with Dylan, I just remembered Lila decided she was going to pose with Dylan on my request. But I don't think we see Dylan for a little while. At the campground, the kids met some other kids. This family was a single mom and 2 little girls, and they invited us over for s'mores. We brought some stuff, they had some stuff, and then Lila and I broke out our ukuleles and started playing. And after we finished a couple of songs, the mom looked at me and she said, "Do you mind if I try a bit?" And this is what happened.
Crystal skies, I can show you incredible things. Stolen kisses, party lies. You're the king, baby, I'm your queen. Find out what you want, be that girl for a month. What's the worst?
It was really sweet watching Lila play with this mom at the campground. She had so much fun. The next morning, we started our trek from Banff to Jasper National Park. If you do not know this about me, I love to collect different kinds of rocks and stones, and I did really good, and I only bought one this trip because it was incredibly beautiful, and I hate that I can't remember off the top of my head what the name of the stone is, but I absolutely fell in love with it. It had such good energy. It just felt good to hold. So these are just some pictures of our drive from Banff to Jasper. It was an incredible drive. It was so gorgeous. Unfortunately, a lot of the pictures that I took just didn't do the area justice, so I left them out because it wasn't nearly as pretty as it looked in real life, so I just kind of left them out. But we did make it to something that was really interesting, and it was the Athabasca Glacier. And this is a glacier that has been receding for years and years and years, they believe due to global warming. So they have markers of where it used to be and where it is now. So it was kind of sad to see, but also really interesting to see as well. So that's the fam in front of the glacier, and then me, and then the kids. You couldn't go past a certain point because it was just too dangerous to go, so we took the pictures, of course, from a distance. And this is a neat panoramic that I took of the glacier, which, again, doesn't really look like 100% what it looked like when we were there, but it's still really neat. There was this one lone flower that I found, and I just thought that was a cool picture. In case you want to know more about the glacier, I did include a picture of the information plaque that was there in front of the glacier. One thing that's really neat about Canada is that they're so considerate when it comes to bathrooms along long routes. They have these bathrooms set up everywhere, as you're driving, so that you can stop and use the restroom whenever you want. So this was just a funny picture that I took inside one of the restrooms. And this looks like John is running away from a volcano, but actually he was just running to meet me at the bathroom, and I just thought it was a funny picture. This was a really cool waterfall that we drove past on our way to our campground for that night, and I just thought it was so beautiful. So I took a bunch of pictures of me and Lila and the fam, and it was just really beautiful. Our campground was very kid-friendly. This is just Lila on one of the swings. This is the first picture we have of downtown Jasper, and this was really cool. I just thought this was a neat photo. We opened up the back, and there were these trains that were right behind where we were parked, and that's just Sam sitting there looking at the train. And we got to do laundry. Yay! It was actually a really cool laundromat where you could buy coffee and get snacks and do your laundry. It was really cute, actually. John, of course, in front of a giant lollipop because he loves candy. We stopped by an ice cream shop called Grandma's Place, and we walked in, and I went over to pay for the ice cream, and Diana says, "Does anybody tell you look like Jen Loves Reviews?" And I was like, I am Jen Loves Reviews. It was really cool. So we got to hug and talk for a minute, and her grandma is Grandma from Grandma's Place, which I thought was really neat. The ice cream was fantastic. Next morning, we woke up and did a little bit of hiking. We went to Mount Robinson Provincial Park, and we saw the Athabasca River, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. So I'm just gonna kind of flip through some pictures there for you. There's a place where you can climb down and there's just this really calm lake area. So I took some pictures of the kids there. I feel like John looks like a model in this picture. He's got that model pose, which a lot of times he takes really silly pictures. So I was really thankful to get a nice picture of him because I don't think he takes photography of himself very seriously. A panoramic picture that I took of that lake area, I thought it was beautiful. And just us on the trail. More nature photos of things that I just thought were really, really pretty. I don't know why I took this picture the next morning of the family brushing their teeth. I guess, just to remember how we brushed our teeth in the morning after we slept in the van. On the 13th, we did take off to start heading toward Vancouver and back toward the US. We stopped in Merritt to eat at a native restaurant, and I had never had native food before, so I thought that was super, super cool, and it was really, really good. On July 14th, we landed in Vancouver and we got to meet up with my friend Jody, who I also met through YouTube. She does have a YouTube channel called Yodelin' Joda, and she was kind enough to show us around Granville Island. And the first thing she treated us to was a pirate ship ride. So this is me and Jody with our pirate makeup on, and me and the fam with our pirate makeup on. The actors that were on the ship were so fun and so cool. And this is John dueling with one of the pirates. She was so, so nice. And the kids got to act in a little play on the ship, and they both really enjoyed that. There's a section where there's a bad guy and the kids on the ship can squirt the bad guy in his boat. It was very cute. And at the end, they give them pirate treasure, which were like little gold, fake tokens things. I don't know, it was cute. They really liked it. And one more picture of me and Jody just having fun. After that, we went to a kids market, and in there, my kids got to do virtual reality for the very first time. They'd never done virtual reality before, and they had a blast. So this is John. I think it was some kind of shark swimming through the ocean kind of thing that he did. And then Lila did a shopping simulator, and they had so much fun, so much fun. It's strange the things you notice in other countries that they just don't do where you live, at least in my part of the United States. This, I'm not quite sure what this thing is. It's maybe some kind of energy box, I don't know, but it was beautifully decorated so that it blended in with the surroundings, and I just thought that was super neat. Here's my only shot of what downtown Vancouver looked like. It was very interesting looking, very metallic and big and square and boxy. It was really different compared to what I'm used to, which is like New York City, Washington, D.C., Baltimore area. So that is it for July 1st through July 15th, and that is it for this week. Here are some preview pictures of what's coming up. Next week, we'll be showing you our portion of the trip from Oregon all the way down to San Francisco. So hopefully you enjoyed this little slideshow of our family trip. I know I enjoyed sharing it with you. Make sure that you tune in next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Mad love to you. Have a great week, and I will see you then.